Hello and welcome. This is the first episode of the Flatwater Film Cast. I am one of your hosts, Greg. With me tonight is a few members of the Flatwater Film Festival. We've got Josh. Say hello, Josh.
Hey. Hi, everybody.
We've got Elizabeth, who we affectionately call Ebeth.
Hello.
And we've got Emily, who we affectionately call Emily.
Hey. Hi. Here I am.
We are starting something new here. This is our big new thing for the upcoming new year of the Flatwater Film Festival. We wanted to give an opportunity to kind of stay relevant throughout the year. In the last couple of years, we kind of die off after our film festival happens, and we wanted a means to be able to stay current with all the filmmaking that is happening, be able to talk with directors, actors, and talent and crew throughout the state of Nebraska that has either played with the Flatwater Film Festival or that we are looking forward to getting to know in the coming years. And so we came up with this idea to create a podcast that we can do throughout the year to be able to just check in with people and see what's going on with them and kind of go from there. So we're kind of flying by the seat of our pants here, but we want to do this as a means of just keeping us relevant throughout the year. So kickstarting us, since we brought on our own team, if you've never heard of the Flatwater Film Festival, we wanted to give you kind of an introduction of who we are, what we're about, and a little bit more in-depth look about the Flatwater Film Festival, because we are more than just the event that happens in the fall. We are more than our new 48-hour film challenge. We are more than anything that we've done throughout the year. So this episode 1 is going to be kind of the pull off the plastic of who is the Flatwater Film Festival, and that is us. So let's just go through our members here. Just letting you know, this is 4 of the 6 of us. We are unfortunately missing Heather Waite is one of our originating founders, as well as Patrick Lambrecht. We got together about 6 years ago to kickstart the Flatwater Film Festival, and you'll hear a little bit more about that as we go. So just going through some introductions here. Emily, why don't you kickstart us?
Well, I am Emily, and I kind of wear many hats with the film festival. My main hat that I wear is being the sponsorship and coordinator for donations that come in, sponsorships, event planning, and there's many other hats as well that I wear. But I work with a lot of the different sponsors and grant writing to make sure that everything goes smoothly as best as possible, and to help with any events that come and go to help support or lead into the film festival.
Excellent. Now, most of you don't know, Emily doesn't have a very big presence in the film community up to this film festival. Can you talk a little bit more about that and kind of what led you into becoming part of the Flatwater Film Festival team?
Sure. As Greg mentioned, I have no film experience, no acting experience, no drama experience, nothing. I actually work in the medical field, reviewing research protocols, so that's kind of my jam. Is full-time, but being Greg's wife, and at the time, I think girlfriend probably, we were going out to some different film festivals, and he kind of was like, hey, let's go. And I thought, all right, let's check it out. I've never been to a film festival. And I kind of just got bit by the bug just to attend. And when the opportunity came that we could start our own film festival, I thought, okay, how am I going to fit into this picture? And so, there are aspects outside of just the films that are submitted to the film festival. There's, everything that's kind of administrative behind the scenes, event coordinating, organization of different aspects, leading different meetings and those kind of things. And so I was able to lend my strengths to those opportunities and just kind of be a behind the scenes, if you will, kind of person. I can help connect people and make sure that things try to go as smooth as they can. So yeah, that's what I was able to add on, and just I can't, like I said, I got bit by the bug, and now it's kind of a part of my DNA, and I love the aspects that I'm able to help with when it comes to the film festival.
Excellent, excellent. Now, Ebeth, you are kind of in that similar boat as Emily. I think you have a little bit more film experience than she did when we started this here. But why don't you speak to what you kind of work on with the film festival and how you got involved with film prior to the film festival?
I hadn't necessarily had too much experience with film beyond what Josh started doing while we were also dating. I had a little bit of theater background because that's how we met. And I guess I should preface this by saying, obviously, I'm Josh's wife.
This is the Flatwater Spouse Cast, just FYI.
Yeah. And when it came down to it, I mean, I was very much a supporter of Josh doing filmmaking and writing and things like that. And that's kind of how I looked to the festival when we started discussing it. And I can go into a whole bunch of things, but, you know, Josh and I have 3 kids within 3 years, and there were years where we didn't see each other. And I took this as an opportunity once our kids were teenagers and double digits for it to be something that we did together. And so I was looking forward to, I know. But that's how I was looking at it, to become involved now that our kids were going to be able to stay home themselves and we could go and spend a couple hours chatting with you guys and meetings and things like that. So, and then over the years, I mean, I would describe myself as a supporter of the team members. You know, I don't necessarily do anything in particular, but I try to be supportive of things that people need help with. Don't give me that look, Emily.
Emily gave that look, by the way, in her face froze.
You do a lot, Ebeth. You do a lot.
I know, but like, you will definitely see me as a face at the festival. That is a thing that I take pride in. My background is customer service, so that's my thing. So when you come to the festival and people show up, and that's where my strengths are. And, you know, I love being the support, and when people need me, I can be there in whatever way I can. And then every now and then I throw out some really good ideas.
Ebeth is very, very modest. She is our shining star at the festival because, yes, you will find her directing people wherever they need to go. And she's got the most incredible smile on her face as she does it. And that's awesome because customer service was never my strong suit. So I'd rather somebody like Ebeth be there to help our guests rather than this goofy mug saying what and where and how. So, Josh, how about you jump in and give us what you got?
Yeah, my name's Josh. I have been in the filmmaking scene for the last 15 years. In that, it seems like longer. 16, 17.
Oh, 17.
It's been a minute in the filmmaking community. I spend a lot of my time with this team, engaging and communicating with filmmakers throughout the year. More than a filmmaker, I'm a big fan of Nebraska filmmaking just in general. So I love communicating with the Nebraska film base and talking to all the filmmakers following along with who's making what, reaching out and just chatting with filmmakers throughout the year, reminding them that the Flatwater Film Festival is here for them when it's time to screen their films. So I just spent a lot of time going back and forth with the Nebraska film community. And then I brought upon or helped to bring upon the 48-hour film challenge to the Flatwater Film Festival, which I'm a really big fan of how that went off last year. And I'll be excited to see where that goes. So otherwise, I don't really do much. I just kind of hang out. Once in a while, I have a good idea. That's it.
Again, you're being way too modest, because a lot of the films that we had play or even submitted to our film festival was because you were hunting them down. You were watching for them and following them through social media and whatever happened to be going to. I know we went to the Omaha Film Festival and we went to Benson Film Festival, and we caught a couple of those films there, and we caught up with the filmmakers there and said, hey, we'd love for you to submit to our film festival as well. That's I mean, if you don't have films, then you don't have a film festival. So you're doing a lot of the grunt work for us, and that's incredible. You're I'm going to say it, you're an incredible cheerleader for Nebraska filmmaking.
Greg, what are you doing? Greg, tell us what you do. What do you do?
So I am Greg. Along with Josh, I am a filmmaker in the Nebraska community and have been for the better part of almost 2 decades now. My biggest thing for the film festival is, I guess, I am the face, if you will. I'm the one who's just not nervous enough to get up on stage and MC the event. I'm the face that you'll see on the announcements that come over social medias and websites and things like that. I am also the presence behind our social media page, giving updates and keeping people informed of what's going on, updates with the Flatwater Film Festival, and just that basic stuff. So the cool thing about our team is that we all kind of plug and play where is needed, exactly like Ebeth, excuse me. We all try to support one another within our own little things. We see the need and we gravitate to find a solution for that need or for that problem or whatever happens to come up. And that's kind of what I try to do as well, is to be that presence of, can I offer suggestions? Can I be a sounding board? Can I be manpower to help you do whatever you need to do for this? So just kind of a Greg of all trades, if you will, for the Flatwater Film Festival. And, kind of being in the film community as long as Josh and I have, we've seen so much growth in that own little community from, I want to say we've been doing this, or we started kind of really getting into this about 2007.
7
or 8. It was in my last year of college. I do remember that much, because that's about when we started meeting at Village Inn and doing script writing and things like that.
Started doing some writing, yeah.
So from 2007 is about as far back as I can track. We've seen such a growth from those days when there was a small group of us that used to meet at somebody's house and talk about what we were working on or trying to work on, who we could connect with and network with and things like that. And it's exploded, absolutely exploded in the state of Nebraska that is filmmaking. And the Flatwater Film Festival, while it's got a really good footing and a really good foundation now, we have kind of derived that from another film festival that was happening prior to this. And I know this is one of Josh's favorite stories to tell, so I'm not going to deprive him of that.
Oh, no, I mean, it's something that, and I talked to Greg a little bit about this before we jumped on, because I wanted to make sure that we were all, square on the origins and everything like this. And I won't ever talk about, where Flatwater came from without at least mentioning the Prairie Lights Film Festival. I won't, because that's a festival that was ran by one of our really good friends, and he ran that for 7 or 8 years. I mean, we were there every year. We had films that screened there, and it was the same thing. It was a film festival that was created to support Nebraska filmmakers, and it was a place where a filmmaker who may not have an opportunity to see their film and their work on a big screen, a place to go, and because he believed that everybody that made a film should have the opportunity to see their film on a big screen, and that was his big thing. When it came around to him just deciding that it was time to end that film festival, it was a big part of our lives as filmmakers, and a lot of filmmakers in Nebraska's lives for 7 or 8 years. And that was something that, when it came down to it, we had a conversation about this should continue. This should go on. And that opportunity for filmmakers in Nebraska should still be just an opportunity. And so, that's kind of where a little bit of where Flatwater, just like the small idea came from. What we've done in Flatwater, as opposed to what Matt did over at Prairie Lights, is we took that piece, but we expanded on that piece a lot. So that's a little bit of background of kind of where we came from.
So now with Em and Ebeth, because at this point you were again just supporters of our films when we went to Prairie Lights. What were your thoughts when we were going to Prairie Lights, and we were mingling? Josh and I were mingling with our community and our crew. I hate to call you guys outsiders, but that's kind of what you were. What were your thoughts when going to Prairie Lights? And let's just go with that. What were your thoughts when you guys went to Prairie Lights?
Well, let's just put this all out on the table, because Ebeth and I buddied up, and we would attend the Flatwater Film or the film festival in Grand Island, and then we'd go hit the antique shops. So that's where we were. That's how we functioned. We would see the movies that we wanted to see, or we would be there to support you guys or the people that we knew. And then it was, all right, what are we going to do? Let's go antique. Let's go find your next prop for your next horror movie, whatever it could be, So that's where we started. But thinking back and remembering, it was fun to walk up to a little small town theater that was bustling with people to see and support independent filmmakers. And from somebody who didn't know what that felt like to be someone in the film community, it was fun to support you and be a true outsider from the community. I got to see how it was run. You get your posters, you get your lanyard, you get your name tag, there's a red carpet. You really kind of felt this regal sense of being at a film festival. And I thrive on that kind of feeling and making sure, that's where I was starting to pick up some of those ideas of when we heard that it wasn't going to continue. Okay, we got to continue that regal feeling, the check-in, the red carpet, the posters. How do you engage your community to be there to support everybody? And then there were all of the different social hours or gatherings, or I think you guys even had your podcast there was a podcast down in the basement, and it was cool because those people that had their films shown at the film festival, they'd immediately walk out, go down and talk to you guys, and then you'd start pumping out all your different episodes. And it was great for those people who couldn't attend. They could listen to it, or at least they had that record of they're coming off of a high of seeing their film on the screen for the first time. You can't capture that any better than in a podcast and getting their initial thoughts right away. Mm-hmm. So you had magic starting there. And I think that was really cool that you guys capitalized on that moment to recognize everybody else and start promoting. So that's what I kind of recognized.
And that also comes down to the theater as well, because that theater in Grand Island, if you ever went into that theater, the Grand was, it was beautiful. It was a wonderful theater to walk into. Had a lot of history in that theater, and we got lucky in being able to keep that same feel when it comes to the Rivoli. If you walk into that theater, it's a beautiful theater, has a ton of history to that theater, and the owners of the Rivoli love film, love it. So that's also another piece that kind of, again, we got lucky on that with the theater that we found, but it's another piece that we kind of were able to keep with bringing over from Prairie Lights as well.
Yeah.
So,
Ebeth, do you see any? Is there anything I missed?
No, I 100% agree. You know, I didn't attend every year because we had kids, so somebody had to be the one to stay back. But I would be able to make it up, even if it was just for like Josh's film or Greg's film, and even if it was just for a night and then left the next day, kind of thing. I will say, up until you and I like really socializing between the two of us and feeling comfortable leaving the theater and be like, you know, I don't have to see every film all weekend. I will admit to very much feeling like an outsider. And this is nothing against the filmmakers, actors, everything like that at all. And you guys know I'm a social person. Like, I will talk your ear off if you get going and we find something to chat about. But coming in and standing there and watching this community of people who you would expect would be like, hey, here's a face I don't recognize, were actually not welcoming in that way. And I don't mean it like welcoming, but not initiators like you would think they would be. So it was at times hard to be like, okay, the one person I know here sometimes, which would be Josh, is over there doing his thing, and that's great. And I'm super proud of him, and I can't say that enough, of watching someone live out their passion and their dream. But be like, wow, I don't know if this is not my place. Like, you know, but forcing yourself to be there because it's not about you, it's about him and people you're there for. And then over the years that changed. Like you notice the faces, you talk to people, you develop those relationships, as tenuous as they might be. And yeah, you know, we go to those after parties and and Tommy's and be out until 1 o'clock in the morning like we are now, and then waking up ridiculously early like we are now. Except we didn't have to run everything.
Yeah, right.
So yeah, it's nice for that to have changed with us running it and feeling like we are that community is a totally different feeling from my end, not being a filmmaker, an actor, producer.
And I think you've touched on a piece there, because I think it's good to have a wide variety of people running a film festival. You have people who understand the industry. You have people who know and have those connections. And then you have people like Ebeth and I who we're the outsiders, and now we can take care of the outsiders who show up to support the filmmakers. We know to recognize those faces we've never seen before. Come to find out, they're probably the director of the film, and they're a high school student, and it's their first time, and their whole family is there to fill the theater. Or we may walk up to somebody and it was just someone who was walking by on the street, but you engage them. And so we've had that experience and can add that. So there's a great variety of originators who created the film festival to take care of the community, whether you're the film community or the outside community there to support.
Yeah, that was Prairie Lights was an intimidating room to walk into, even as a filmmaker, because whether people would admit it or not, you wanted to be at least as good, or your film to be at least as good as the person, that was in front of you, or that played after you. You wanted to be at least on a level. You know what I mean? So when you walked into that room, it was an intimidating, room to walk into, even as a filmmaker. And Matt ran Prairie Lights by himself. He did not have a team to do all the things that we do, and we're very lucky to have the team that we have, and try to make it so it's not an intimidating room to walk into. And I feel like we do a really great job of letting filmmakers know, if you walk in and you don't know people, come find us, because we know a lot of the people there, and we will walk you up to a table and introduce you to that group of filmmakers. And one thing that we've been, again, also lucky on is the group of filmmakers that we've had over the past 4 or 5 years have been an amazing group of people that have welcomed everybody to their table, asking them questions. Have you made a film before? And that's one thing that Patrick brought to the table last year or the year before. The whole networking panel that we do is a great way to get people, meeting people and engaging with people. And so it was tough. It was tough at Prairie Lights. And that's a piece that I feel like we've really gone after and tried to make that room you walk into a real comfortable, welcoming room for everybody.
So let's kind of carry on that, because obviously October of 2019 was the final year of the Prairie Lights Film Festival. The 6 of us, while we were there, kind of started a small conversation of, this needs to continue. We need to be, if this method of film festival that's not what I wanted to say. The Prairie Lights Film Festival is dedicated to all filmmakers that are either brand new, seasoned, veterans, whatever they are. It was designed for filmmakers in Nebraska. When Matt decided to shut that down, we knew that we needed to keep that format. That's the word I was looking for, format. We knew we needed to keep that format alive because of the filmmakers in this state, especially with the boom that we are experiencing with filmmaking here in Nebraska. These people need a source to be able to submit their stuff, network, and do whatever we needed to do. So October 2019, Prairie Lights Film Festival shut its doors for the last time. We got together and we met. And within that room, I remember very, very detailed discussions of, and this is not a knock on what Prairie Lights wasn't, because Prairie Lights had its own way of doing things, but we wanted to take what Prairie Lights was and we wanted to expand it. We wanted to grow it. And we knew that those things that we needed at Prairie Lights, the networking the networking pieces of it, the main format of, we'll play your film so long as you're somehow affiliated to Nebraska. those kinds of things are what are going to make our film festival not only become a mainstay, but expand in the state of Nebraska. I don't know if any of you recall kind of what we went through in that first official meeting that we went through.
I sure do. Guess who's got the agenda from that meeting up? So I do. I have the agenda, and our goal of that meeting was to educate ourselves on what it would take to create and run a film festival and collectively make decisions to further the end goal. And our bullet points for that meeting was to define our mission and our mission statement and our festival goal, to define our name, to put out onto the table what type of an organization we were going to be, LLC, 501c3 nonprofit, private. Where were we going to do this? Were we going to try and stay in Grand Island? Were we going to go west, really far west? Were we going to bring it a little bit back more towards the eastern side of Nebraska? We discussed all of that. The cost of hosting such film festival. How were we going to do submissions? I mean, everybody pretty much uses Film Freeway. Were we going to charge for tickets? How was that going to go? What do other places do for charging for submissions, charging for entry, not charging? How do we set ourselves apart from it? What do sponsorship partners? I mean, I could keep going down the list.
Yeah.
But I want to touch on this because I thought this is really obviously what defines who we are now. We wanted to come up with a unique name that was going to be specific to Nebraska and really sing that song that we were here for, Nebraska filmmakers. So we looked at different things or words that represented Nebraska. So we obviously had in our list Meadowlark. We only had 3 that are currently on this list. We had Meadowlark, Great Plains, and Flatwater. Those were our first 3 names that we started out with. And Flatwater actually comes from the Omaha Sioux and the, I believe it's Oto or Otto, I apologize, tribes that Nebraska means Flatwater. So if you want to translate it back, we are the Nebraska Film Festival, Flatwater Film Festival. So I really love our name. Plus we can just, call ourselves the Triple F or, however you want to do it. But we really tied it back to the roots of being for Nebraska, in Nebraska, and about Nebraska. And I don't think you can get any more Nebraska than that. So that's what's really stuck with me, is that pride of having that connection back to the roots of Nebraska and the tribes that, set us up.
Yeah. And hats off to Heather too, because, we should definitely bring up the fact that even before we had our first meeting about what we were going to try to create, Heather called a ton of theaters to find us a place to host this film festival. Some in Lincoln, she may have called Omaha. She called around the different communities, and she found. She's the one that found our space. And while I think a couple of theaters might have said yes, and this is how much it's going to, I went into this is how much it's going to cost you to host this festival here and all those things. The Rivoli said, please come to our theater and do this here. And they were just from that phone call to our first initial meeting with Chuck and Julie and Connie, just so excited to have us there and just so welcoming to us. And I can't now, 5 years into this, imagine getting one of those other spaces to host this festival. That was a big piece. So, Heather, got us that space to even allow us to do this. Yeah. So big props to her.
Yeah, absolutely. one of the biggest things that I think we talked about in that meeting was, if we don't have a theater, we don't have a film festival. And once we locked that down, I mean, I felt like we were going to be searching for theaters for quite some time, but yeah, absolutely exactly what you said, Josh. Heather just knocked it out of the park and continues to do so as our graphic design, things like that. I don't think I mentioned that at the beginning. I apologize, Heather. We do love you. But we, we assembled such an incredible team, and I don't want this to turn into the pat on the back cast, but it's truly how we came to be. It's part of our origin story. We wanted this to be a collective team effort, and that is what it has been day in and day out for the last 5 years. Excuse me, 5 years. We can't forget that first year. Let's talk about that first year. 2020 was going to be our first year of the Flatwater Film Festival. Can you guess what happened?
Yeah, I don't remember a lot about it. Can you tell me what we did? Did we get together at all?
2020, we were gung-ho. We were ready to go. We had our theater in place. I can't remember how many movies we had submitted at that time, but obviously we all know what happened in 2020. We had to make some very difficult decisions that we weren't ready to make being first year out. And that was, do we host this film festival? Can we do an online film festival? Because we've seen some other festivals that have done that, or that were doing that during the pandemic years. Or do we put it on and just hope and pray that people wear their face masks and don't throw a fit and nobody gets sick and nothing worse happens at our first year of our film festival? To avoid that, we ultimately made the decision to cancel the film festival altogether, which it really sucked at the time to make that decision. Looking back, though, I think it was one of the best things that we could have done, not just from a pandemic health scare standpoint, but from a organization event building standpoint of, we gave ourselves basically an extra year to build this film festival without really having to disappoint too many people on we weren't ready to do this, or we're going to cancel because we're unprofessional, unprepared, and whatever. People understood why we were doing this. We wanted to keep them safe. While on the back end, we were thinking, well, thank God we have another year to figure this thing out.
Yeah. And I wonder now, though, you thinking back, what that first year would have looked like had we moved without COVID, had we moved forward, and what that would have looked like that year, and would we have progressed as much as we have over the last 4 or 5 years if we just would have stuck with it and done it? Because a lot of things with that extra year came out of that extra year. Things that we did not have in our initial plans. I think our initial plans were just to screen films. I think that's what we were going to do.
And that's initially what we did in that first official year. Was and it actually worked out even better because we got a bunch of films just from people that wanted to play them, and that was our first year, and that was one of our base plans. Our foundational plans was, we are a film festival. We are here to play films. Let's figure out how to run a film festival just playing films. And if we can do that, then we at least know we've got a foundation of, we can start adding things, little bits here and there and this. And I think that either way, we would have grown. We may not have grown as quickly as we have without that first canceled year of prep, but I think we still would have grown at some level. But figuring out that year of, we are a film festival, we are here to play films, we're going to play as many films as we possibly freaking can. I think we played 77, 73. It was somewhere in the 70s. You have it, Em?
Well, I have the submission information from Film Freeway,
Okay.
and for our first year, we had 37 hours worth of content that was in consideration for us to pick from.
Yeah.
Wow.
So for our first film festival, our first year, people responded. And I think that's a testament to people also wanting to have their stuff submitted to a film festival. Obviously, they can go to some of the bigger places, other film festivals that are in Nebraska or elsewhere. But we were picking up from what happened in Grand Island, and people were recognizing that we were similar to Prairie Lights, but we were brand new. And so people showed up, and that's what was huge. We were blown out of the water that people responded.
Yeah.
And I think that we selected 70 some films because we're like, yeah, sure, why not? Let's just go ahead and do it in 3 days.
Well, and again, it's right back to that. We wanted to play as many films as we could just because we had that blank of a year in 2020. We didn't get to play anybody's films. So we wanted to try to grab as many as we could and see this is the basic need of what we need to do to run a film festival. And actually, this jumps into our next talking point of every year from there, we've chosen to try to integrate something new, something more expansive, something to allow us to grow as a film festival and more solidify our place here in Nebraska as an arts event. We have added educational panels. We have added a director's roundtable. I think we did both of those our second year, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the director's roundtable for sure came in the second year.
Okay. We have added our 48-hour film challenge. That was our last year edition. I don't remember what year 3 was. What did we do year 3?
We did a launch party.
That's what it was.
We brought in our launch party that third year.
Yes.
Okay. That was fun.
All 6 people that showed up.
Yeah.
It's a learning experience.
Thank you, 6 people. Yeah.
Take away that this is a learning experience. We try to do new things. When you goof up, you figure out how to fix it. But I think that every year we've gotten better and better responses. Just seeing how many more people show up to our actual event when we add these things in. I know it was last year, year 4. No, 2 years ago. Excuse me. Year 3 when Patrick added the speed networking.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if somebody wants to explain what speed networking is.
Oh, go ahead, Gregory. You were a part of that this year.
So our speed networking event was something created by Patrick. Essentially, is very similar to a speed dating event where you get a certain amount of time to speak to a person across the table, across the hall, whatever it happens to be, and you exchange your who am I, what am I doing, what do I hope to learn from you, this, that, and the other thing, and then you move on to the next person. We started that last year, and that from first year out of the gate was one of the biggest events that we had put on at the film festival outside of the film festival. Go ahead.
Yeah, we started that year 3 in the small theater.
Right.
It blew up so much. Sorry, Greg. That you and Patrick had to move that to the bigger theater this last year, and it was even more people that showed up to the last one. So that's an event that you guys brought on that was really successful for filmmakers.
And it goes along with part of we don't want you to be just a nameless face at our film festival. We want our filmmakers, our film creators, our actors, writers, whoever you are, we want you to know that we are so glad that you are there, even if it's just to see your film, but we want to put you in touch with those people that you might not know who they are, or you might have anxiety troubles of wanting to talk to some of those bigger names, because it can be intimidating to go and talk to somebody who's a seasoned veteran filmmaker. I've been in that exact spot. But if we can break the ice for you and give you a means to be able to talk to these people and help you create your next film, write your next film, learn how to better light or mic your next film, we're doing our job. And that's ultimately, outside of the actual film festival, that's what we are shooting for with the Flatwater Film Festival, is to give you those opportunities for networking, to meet these people, and to better your own craft so that someday you can be that seasoned veteran who's helping usher along the next rookie filmmaker that's just coming out of high school or coming out of college.
I want to add on to that too. As an outsider, kind of viewing the festival, and maybe more hours than Prairie Lights, just because I wasn't really cognizant of everything. And I'm sure you guys could speak to this as well, but you tend to see also that filmmakers like to stay within a group of people that they like to work with.
Yep.
And I think it's amazing, not only that first time filmmaker that could meet up with the person who's made their 10th film, or somebody who hasn't made theirs yet, to find the people who could, but also trying to get those people that stick with what they know to branch out and see a film of somebody they had never even heard of or met and be like, oh my gosh, I would love to work with that person. Or see a director's film, or an actor see a director's film and be like, I love what they did with that. I want to work with that person. So breaking people out of their boxes, that sometimes that you can create yourself, is so cool to watch happen as the years go on, and introducing those people is just, I don't know, I enjoy it.
Yeah, no, and we have a lot of repeat filmmakers. We've had filmmakers that have played there every year for the first 4 years, and all those people recognize the people that they saw last year and the year before, and they recognize new faces too. And so, those people are also taking it upon themselves to, recognize a new face and, introduce themselves. At our after parties that we have, it's like another, networking event, really. It's a great place where new filmmakers or first-time filmmakers to meet people that have been around for a minute. And again, I go back to, it's been really great having that community there, and welcoming new filmmakers into that community and talking with them and giving them advice and all those things.
So another thing that we've done with, keeping in mind of that idea of adding something new every year, in year 4, we kind of had a lot of new things happening. We actually became a 501c3 nonprofit entity, which, looking back at our very first agenda, was on there. So a dream has come true, and it has come to reality, that we are now official, and you can look us up. We look us up legally if you want to, 501c3 wise. But being able to be a 501c3 just completely opens the doors in so many different directions, and we're still trying to figure this out. We were granted our number sometime late spring, early summer, and as part of that, we had to create our board of directors in order to be able to write grants and do business as a true 501c3. And it took us 6-ish about months to find the appropriate board of directors members. We tried to figure out how big our board was going to be, how small it was going to be, who it might entail, how we were going to do it. Granted, it took us a little bit longer than it probably should have, but I think that the board of directors members that we have are going to take this film festival to the next level. I think that there's many great opportunities that are in our future, and just this little aspect of becoming a 501c3, now official with board of directors, it's kind of like we're growing up and we're ready to take the next step in our relationship with the film festival, and it's really exciting. So that, you know, we add something every year to the film festival for the film goers, but this was a really big step for the film festival to take in order to further ourselves into this community and to say, we're here, we're going to make a difference, we're not going anywhere. So
Yeah, I completely agree with you there. You know, you take a look at everything that we've done in the last couple of years, from just those first educational panels, the directors roundtable, building that board of directors, our brand new shiny podcast. It's just a testament to we are moving in the right direction, and we're making ourselves viable. We're doing the right things to make this happen, and I think that's from an organizational standpoint, or from the one of the creators or the original creators of this film festival and our team. It shows a testament to how amazing we are as a team. Again, I don't want this to be the pat ourselves on the back cast, but we're kicking ass here, and I think that's just a phenomenal thing.
Yeah, and I just, again, we got to give props where props are due. And when we talk about the board of directors, we got to talk about all the work that Em and Patrick put in researching what we would need to do to put that together. They worked for like weeks on writing all that up. And so again, a lot of work was put in behind the scenes. That it wasn't a group project. It wasn't we got on meetings and we talked about what do we need to do. It was Patrick and Em meeting separately in their own group to get this put together. So again, that's just, and we do that with our groups too. We do that with the 48-hour film challenge. We do that with, I said, board of directors and Em and Patrick, and our separate groups. We bounce off into separate meetings and then bring them back to our big group meeting. But that board of directors, when we saw all of that information, glad it wasn't me. it was a lot. So yeah, those guys kicked ass in putting that together. So, and we have a great board too. Our board is awesome.
And I can't wait to see what they're gonna
yeah.
bring to the table.
Yeah.
I will say though, Greg, because you said it a couple times, I think we do deserve to pat ourselves on the back. And I know once the festival ends, we all go, yes, we did it. Awesome. But I'm not sure what everybody thought when we first started down this path, but we have every right to be so proud of ourselves. I'm always blown away Sunday afternoon that this is something that we have done. So I think
touching on that, Ebeth, and kind of like what Josh was talking about, how Patrick and myself, we stepped into that realm of doing the board of directors and figuring out the legalities of that. And, Patrick, he takes care of all of the submissions that come in terms of getting them rendered properly and set up, and with those leader screens that you see before everything. And I think that was something new year 3 that we did, was having those little previews before. But there's no task that any of us sends out external from the 6 of us. We all handle everything in-house. So there's somebody to do the administrative, email work. There's somebody to do the legalities. There's somebody to be the face of the group. There's somebody who can be someone who works with all the different groups. Heather and Patrick work on the majority of our advertising logos and things. So
Marketing and stuff, yeah.
Our marketing. Thank you. That's a much more formal name. But yes, Ebeth, you're right. We should give kudos to ourselves because we don't ask others necessarily to help. We can manage it all, and we're very lucky that we have the skill sets of everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually am looking forward to hopefully getting the board members on this in future episodes so that we can see what their, skill sets are. And maybe we're going to be able just to grow in different directions that we had no idea we were even capable of. Right. But kudos to us. Let's go have some champagne or a beer or pizza or something.
And behind the scenes, Ebeth mentioned when the film festival ends, our festival ended. We took a little break, and then we had a post-festival meeting with our board, and then we took a little break, and we've had meetings since then with our group and the board. And so it's a year-round, never-ending thing. We're Greg and I branched off. We talked about the podcast for a little bit. We've had separate meetings, and we're going to take a little bit of a break, then for the holidays, and then come January we're back into it for the next year. It's a second full-time job. So
that being said, we have a next year coming up, year 5. We are 5 years into having we're more than a toddler right now. What are we looking forward to? What are we excited about? And who wants to dive into that one?
I think it's kind of a cop-out answer, but I'm really just excited to see what happens. With knowing all the planning that we go throughout the entire year, I'm not going to lie, it's a pain in the ass. It is a legit pain in the ass sometimes to get all the stuff, all the wheels turning, all the coordination that we need. When we step onto that stage, or when I step onto that stage on Friday night, the first night of our film festival, and I see all those people sitting in the seats, knowing that they're just going to see some rock star movies, I get chills. And that's probably why I'm terrible at public speaking, because I'm so excited up there. That's a lie. I'm terrible at public speaking, but I'm still excited to be there. Just the event in its entirety, seeing all the people mingling together, all the hustling and bustling between the things, telling everybody to stop talking in the lobby. It's all part of it, and I think that just that overall encompassing experience is one of my favorite things for myself that I'm looking forward to the most. One of my other favorite things outside of the actual event of the film festival is Selection Saturday. I love Selection Saturday, and we can go into that a little bit more after that, but somebody else talk.
Yeah, I too. Oh, go ahead, Em. We have a delay, so go ahead.
Yeah, I have a delay too. I'd have to say, trying to get all the sponsors on board, it's kind of like this fun little dance I get to do with them, trying to get in front of them and communicate with them and get their, I hate to use these words, but like get their buy-in, how do we get them invested in what we're doing in the community? And then to see it all come together like the month before and all these sponsorships just kind of like fly in. You're like, oh, we can actually do this. We can put a festival on. We can actually feed you popcorn this year. It's going to be fine. There's a thrill behind that. And that's what keeps me going. And I will piggyback off of Greg as well. I think Selection Saturday is a time when we actually all get together and we can, jive off of people's energy to to try to put the schedule together. And I'm sure in future, episodes we'll talk. Maybe we'll have just a selection Saturday, episode. I don't know. Kind of telling what we do, but there's good energy that comes out of trying to put together a really good lineup for you guys. And it's a thrill for us to try and put a story together and to highlight the newcomers and to highlight those who have really put together a great film. And we want to be there to support all of you. So that's why you see such a variety. And it all comes from that selection Saturday.
I think, we just talked about how planning this festival is an all year round thing, and the communication, like when it gets into it, our phones going off in those message groups is just, but it honestly feels like Selection Saturday is the day where it all really starts to feel real and things really kick into gear. Like, that's when we go, these are our films. And now we've got the roadmap of what that weekend is really going to start looking like. We can talk about all the educational panels that we want to do and what we want to try to add in. But until we've all sat down in one room and we've got that list of films and we start talking about, our thoughts and processing all of that, it's just kind of an idea still of what that weekend looks like. And that's the first concrete day where it starts happening. And that's super exciting.
Oh yeah, we have a ton of new ideas in the works for year 5. I know year 5 is something that we've talked about. We wanted, to be a real big year for us. And I'm looking forward to chatting about and getting some of those ideas kind of rolling. I always look forward to, even though we've just done it that first year last year, our first kickoff for 48-hour film challenge and attaching that to our launch party, was huge for us this year. And the amount of, when you do something new like a 48-hour film challenge, you don't know what kind of response you're going to get. And the only way that kind of thing works is if people respond and they sign up and they take on that challenge, and you don't know how many people you're going to get when you announce that kind of thing. And so it's nerve-wracking when you start that kind of thing. And we got a great response from the 40-hour film challenge this year, and had a good amount of teams sign up for our first year, and that was really great to see. So, I look forward to that and our launch party. And, like everybody else, I look forward to Chaos Saturday, because that's really what it is. We can call it Selection Saturday all we want to, but it's chaos in a room. And but it's like the energy in that room is bananas. And, that is one of my favorite, if not beyond the festival, my favorite day that we have throughout the year is the, like you guys said, and like you guys said, it's the day where everything that we worked on for the whole year kind of comes together, and you can see our year festival laid out in front of you. And it's awesome. It's a ton of fun. So,
yeah.
And Selection Saturday is just, come on. We watch all those films every year. Every single film that comes in, we watch every single hour of every single film.
Well,
that comes
most
in.
Of us do.
Even
Do we really?
All of us are supposed to watch them.
And we all watch all the films.
Yes,
and
we do. All of them.
And we do, throughout in that group, we do communicate about the films, throughout the year. Did you see this film? Did you see that one? It's a conversation piece from the first film that comes in through the last film that we watch. It's a conversation piece all year round in our group. And, again, can't say enough how many great films we've played over the last 4 years. And, just seeing what's out there right now in the different groups and what people are working on now, the fantastic films that we can play in the future they're coming. So I'm excited for that.
We've had nothing but great films play at our festival, regardless of whether it's a first time filmmaker or it's a veteran filmmaker. We've been so excited to be able to share these films for other filmmakers, for people that are just fans of film. There's a lot of F's in there. Flatwater Film Festival. There's more. It's an exciting organization to be a part of, and yeah, Elizabeth, you are right. We do deserve to be proud of ourselves, to pat ourselves on the back because of what we've gone through, where we've come from, and what we've been able to do, and more importantly, where we're going to go with it. I don't know much more that we can say on that, except this is us. We are the Flatwater Film Festival. We are here for filmmakers here in Nebraska. We are here to share, excuse me, we are here to share your films so that you get a chance to see them on the big screens. We are here to help you network, to get you to a better place in your filmmaking career. We are here to help you however we can, to be perfectly honest. So that's what we do. And we're excited to see where this is going to go. Not just our film festival event, but this podcast. We're going to be doing talks with directors and filmmakers from around Nebraska that have either played at Flatwater or that are going to be playing at Flatwater. And we want to be able to showcase them in different ways to find out what they enjoyed about working on projects or what they're looking forward to with their newest projects and things like that. So we hope you're as excited as we are to continue on the ride. Josh, were you going to say something?
Just before we go, I wanted to tell one little story that happened to us 2 years ago now. And it's a similar story that came out of Prairie Lights. And Greg and I got to have this experience a couple of years ago. Was it year 3? I think it was year 3. There was a filmmaker that came to Flatwater who had not ever made a film before. He was new to Nebraska, and he found Greg and I, and we had a conversation with him for a little bit, and a really great conversation. And after that festival ended, he went out and found a group of people and found his crew, and he made a film, and that film screened, and it was a great film. It was a ton of fun, and going back to Flatwater being a networking event and Flatwater being a great event for first-time filmmakers or an event for people that want to get into filmmaking in Nebraska but just don't know where to start, Flatwater is a great place to start.
Here we are.
And if you come out there as a first-time filmmaker or someone that just wants to get started, come find us, because we love to talk about film, and we want to talk about your film and your ideas and get you connected to all the people that are out there at Flatwater, and have you come back with the film that you made. So I just think, like, I'm really proud of that story. I'm really proud of that situation, and I hope we get more people out there like that. So
absolutely. That's our goal. Fostering the next generation of filmmakers. So that being said, because I know we could continue talking for a long time, we're gonna cut this down. On behalf of Emily, Ebeth, and Josh, and as well as Heather and Patrick, we missed you tonight, but we know that you're out there, and we're grateful that you're a part of our team, and we're excited to see where this goes. So we are the Flatwater Film Festival. We look forward to talking to you again.
Thank you for supporting the Flatwater Podcast. produced in collaboration with the Flatwater Film Festival. To learn more, be sure to click the subscribe button and follow us on our social media pages by searching for the Flatwater Film Festival. You can also find us on our website, flatwaterfilmfestival.com. The 5th annual Flatwater Film Festival will be hosted at the historic Rivoli Theater in downtown Seward, Nebraska, September 26th through the 28th of 2025. The Flatwater Film Festival is a 501c3 nonprofit organization created to celebrate Nebraska filmmakers by providing a non-competitive platform to showcase their work, developing, promoting, and providing support for a stronger filmmaking community and fostering the next generation of Nebraska filmmakers.